Hyundai has worked hard the past few decades to improve its reputation for reliability and style. Despite that, Hyundai cars are not as reliable as a Toyota. Today I'll tell you why you shouldn't buy Hyundai, tell you about the most common problems owners have been seeing with the Hyundais. I'll also tell you about some of the recent recalls Hyundai's had for various models, including recalls for the Tucson, which is Hyundai's best-selling car here in the US. One of the most common problems with Hyundai cars are the engines. The engine is the heart of your vehicle. If you value a quiet engine, for example, be wary of Hyundai Elantras from the 2011 to 2015 model years. Multiple owners of Elantras in these years have complained about an unsettling ticking sound coming from the engines. And here's the thing about ticking sounds. 9 times out of 10, it means there's an underlying and sometimes very costly problem inside the engine. When the fuel in the combustion chamber ignites prematurely, this causes a knocking or pinging sound. Engine knocking can also be caused by low fuel quality, incorrect spark plug gaps, and carbon buildup. It comes down to the gasoline direct injection, or GDI engine for short, in these Hyundais. GDI engines are known for their efficiency and power, but this unique engine comes with its own set of problems. This type of engine is becoming increasingly popular in modern cars. In a GDI engine, the fuel is injected directly into the combustion chamber instead of being mixed with air before entering the chamber. Don't get me wrong, this type of engine does come with a slew of benefits like increased power, improved fuel efficiency, reduced emissions of some sort, and smooth and quiet operation. But one of the main problems with GDI engines has to do with carbon buildup on the intake valves. This can cause multiple issues like poor fuel economy, reduced horsepower, and engine knocking. Unlike port injection engines, GDI engines don't have fuel washing over the valves. Because of this, it can lead to the accumulation of carbon deposits on the backside of the valves. This can then cause decreased power, reduced fuel efficiency, and engine misfires. GDI engines can also experience high oil consumption because of the increased heat generated by the combustion process. This can even lead to low oil levels and potential engine damage if you don't address the problem quickly. So how do you know if your engine has high oil consumption? Look for things like smoke coming from the exhaust, oil leaks, and obviously the need to frequently add oil. Speaking of oil, GDI engines also experience oil leaks. This can be caused by things like worn seals, damaged gaskets, and loose bolts. Speaking of engines, another common engine problem with Hyundais has to do with engine seizures. Specifically, in 2011 and 2012 Hyundai Sonata and Elantra models. In some cases, the engines were not turning over properly, which caused noticeable disruptions in the performance of the vehicles. Some Santa Fe owners and even Tucson owners also reported problems with their engines stalling or failing to start. This can be extremely dangerous, especially if you're driving at high speeds on a highway with other vehicles around you. If you happen to notice any of these engine problems in your Hyundai, even if you think it might be minor, you should really get your engine checked right away. The longer you wait to address engine problems, the more costly and dangerous they will become. Replacing any faulty components and regularly lubricating the engine can prevent many engine issues from causing any serious damage to your vehicle. Imagine driving your Hyundai on a highway on an average Tuesday morning. Then all of a sudden your ABS catches on fire inside your vehicle. If you haven't already heard, some Hyundai vehicles have attracted attention because of disturbing and dangerous fires. The cause of these fires are due to failing seals, which allowed water to leak into the ABS system. This led to corrosion in the water, causing the electronics to short out, spark, and then start a fire. Believe it or not, this actually happened whether the vehicle was running or not. In fact, things got so bad Hyundai asked the owners not to park in garages or near any buildings in case a fire should start when the vehicle's turned off. This issue was resolved in the recall where Hyundai replaced the ABS multi-fuse on the affected vehicles. This recall impacted multiple Hyundai models. I'm talking models like 2006 to 11 Azera, the 2006 Sonata, the 2006 to 11 Elantra, the 2007 to 11 Elantra Touring, and most recently the 2013 to 2015 Santa Fe Sport. If you happen to own one of these models, you really should bring your vehicle in as soon as possible to a Hyundai service center for a comprehensive inspection and needed repairs. Another common issue with Hyundai cars has to do with steering and handling. Specifically, drivers have complained about steering problems in their Sonatas and Elantras. Common reports showed things like clicking and wobbling sounds. If you hear these sounds in your vehicle while steering, pull over and check your steering wheel. Problems like these could cause a malfunctioning system needing immediate attention. But if you ignore these problems, your steering wheel can lock or malfunction as you're on the road, and obviously this can lead to a serious and even fatal crash if you cannot steer the car. Now let's talk about another common problem that Hyundai owners have complained about. This time, it's transmission issues, and mind you, this can cost a lot of money. If you notice irregular gear shifts or sudden acceleration changes, things like that can be due to transmission-related issues, and you really should get it checked out sooner than later. Unfortunately, this issue is not uncommon for Hyundai cars, especially for those that have automatic transmissions. For example, 2016 Hyundai Tucson was known for experiencing transmission issues. This issue got resolved in a Hyundai recall. Yet even in later models of the Hyundai Tucson, there were over 100 NHTSA complaints regarding transmission issues. In most cases, complaints were regarding erratic transmission behavior. The 2018 Hyundai Elantra is another model with which owners faced a variety of transmission issues. I'm talking anywhere from slippage while driving or even a lack of acceleration after stopping. Both of these issues can put anyone behind the wheel at risk. That's why if you notice these issues in your vehicle, it's crucial you get them addressed as soon as possible. Other Hyundai vehicles made between July and October 2010 were prone to transmission fluid leaks. This was because of a poorly manufactured transmission cooler hose. If you never heard of a Hyundai self-healing paint, well, this paint was designed to repair minor marks and scratches. Sounds innovative, sure, but it's received its fair share of backlash from disappointed Hyundai customers. At first it works fine, but then problems arise. Now, it's well known that UV rays and heat exposure over time can lead to paint fading and oxidation in any car, regardless of brand. On average, I'd say about 5 to 10 years to the sun will fade a car's paint under normal circumstances without any preventative measures. But the thing is, it happens more often and earlier to certain Hyundai models than many other brands. Take a look at the 2006 to the 2017 models of the Hyundai Santa Fe, Sonata, and Elantra, for example. I'm talking about paint that melts, which leads to loose and uncovered areas that start to peel over time. People are calling it peeling paint and paint delamination, and it happens more particularly to Hyundais that are white or pearl white. In fact, there was a class action lawsuit that was filed this past May. In 2019, a man bought a white 2017 Elantra. 3 months later, he noticed the paint in the hood was peeling off by plates. Now, a Hyundai dealership fixed the problem and even paid for it. But then, the next year, the same problem started happening at other places on the front left fender and on the roof near the windshield. But the dealership refused to pay for the repair, since now his initial 3-year paint warranty had expired. If you had to guess which Hyundai model is the most unreliable, well, that dishonor goes to the 2011 Hyundai Sonata, primarily because many reported issues with airbags, electrical systems, and other issues. On the flip side, the 2018 Hyundai Kona takes the cake across multiple categories, with the fewest reported issues than any other Hyundai that has had no recalls to date. Speaking of recalls, the Hyundai Tucson is the hands-down best-selling Hyundai here in the States, and that too has seen its fair share of recalls. One such recall was for premature rod bearing failure. The issue first started as a mysterious knocking of the engine. Then the owners noticed their engine seizing, followed by the driver's lost all power while driving. Oddly enough, Hyundai only decided to recall the 2017 model year Tucson, even though the issue was reported across several other model years with the Theta 2 engine. With the recall, owners either received a completely new engine or a software update that contained a new knock sensor detective system, which identifies when this issue starts to develop so it can then be addressed before any serious catastrophic damage or crash occurs. Another recent Hyundai recall was for the 2021 to 2023 Elantra hybrids. These models evidently can accelerate unintentionally after a driver releases the brake pedal. The cause is due to an issue in the car's motor control unit software. Hyundai made a statement to safety regulators that said the motor control unit software may detect a transmission or drive motor synchronization fault while driving. This can trigger a fail-safe condition that would temporarily result in slow and unintentional acceleration after the release of the brake pedal. But service brake functionality is unaffected and remains fully operational. Also, Hyundai said that all affected Elantra hybrids also have brake override systems as standard fare. So the auto hold system should help prevent any incidents. Now, this is a recent recall, so if you own a Elantra hybrid from one of these model years, you should have received a notification by mail. If you haven't, take the car to the Hyundai dealer for a free software update. One of the most recent recalls from Hyundai, and by recent, I mean recent. Hyundai and Kia are currently telling owners of nearly 92,000 vehicles in the U.S. park their vehicles outside because an electronic controller and an oil pump can overheat and cause fires. These recalls impact specific 2023 and 2024 Hyundai Palisades, as well as some of the 2023 Tucson, Sonata, Elantra, and Kona vehicles. It also impacts 2023 Kia Souls, Sportages, as well as some 2023 and 2024 Seltos. Apparently, a capacitor on a circuit board in the oil pump assembly for the transmission may have been damaged by the supplier during manufacturing. Because of this, it can end up causing a short circuit and increasing the risk of a fire. According to Kia, it received 6 reports of melting components, but no fires or injuries. Hyundai said 4 thermal incidents and no injuries. the Kia EV9. This is a new full battery electric midsize crossover which launches with the 2024 model year. This is Kia's second car to be developed on its Electric Global Module Platform, or E-GMP. It's also Kia's second all-electric car, and it follows the EV6 compact crossover. There's been some hype and anticipation about the EV9 ever since Kia revealed its concept with second-row seats that rotate 180 degrees. I'll tell you why you should really hold off on buying the EV9. First things first, the Kia EV9 has 3 rows and is around the same size as the current gas-only Telluride, and it shares its platform with the upcoming Hyundai Ioniq 7. But that's not the only interesting thing about the EV9. If you haven't heard of the acronym PCM, well, it's basically anything you waste that's plastic, and the Kia EV9 is full of it. Seriously, it's everywhere, from the trim to the doors. Now, PCM is nothing new. Hyundai's been doing this in some of its models, so it's no surprise that Kia is following suit. Kia is using PCM in EV9 to remove waste plastics from the ecosystem, and also to conserve other resources that would have been used to make plastics in the first place. The paint that coats the exterior of the EV9 is said to be free of BTX. That's benzene, toluene, and xylene, which are chemicals in paint that can cause some harmful environmental effects. The paint used on the EV9 is made from rapeseed oil instead of crude oil to further lower the car's impact on the environment. Then there's PET, which stands for polyethylene terephthalate. This is one of the most recycled plastics in the world. You can find it in everything from water bottles to t-shirts. Specifically, Kia will use PET to make yarn for the EV's headliner, headrest, seats, carpets, and floor mats. Floor mats can alternatively be made with recycled fishing nets. This is something that Kia already does. According to Kia, every EV9 will be made from at least 70 recycled water bottles. The 2024 Kia EV9 is set to compete with the likes of existing electric mid-size crossovers like the Toyota BZ4X, the Hyundai Ioniq 5, and the Tesla Model Y. Here's how it stacks up against the competition. Let's compare power, performance, and driving range. The base model, which is the Kia EV9 rear-wheel drive standard, has a 76.1 kilowatt-hour battery and a single rear-mounted electric motor with 215 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. And it's supposed to give you 270 miles of driving range. That's not bad, but it's not impressive either. On the other hand, the EV9 rear-wheel drive long range has a 99.8 kilowatt battery, which promises to deliver up to 300 miles of range. But there's a catch. It only has 201 horsepower rear electric motor. On the other hand, the EV9 GT line has a 99.8 kilowatt-hour battery and an additional electric motor in the front axle. Because of this, it can generate up to 379 horsepower and up to 516 pound-feet of torque with a standard boost mode. With this powertrain, the EV9 can tow up to 5,000 pounds. The EV9 will be able to charge from 10% to 80% in under 25 minutes on a 350 kilowatt DC fast charger. In terms of driving range, the 2024 Tesla Model Y blows the Kia EV9 out of the water. The Model Y is said to offer 330 miles of range, and at a supercharging station it can recharge up to 162 miles in 15 minutes. The all-wheel drive version also comes with 2 ultra-responsive independent electric motors that digitally control torque to the front and rear wheels. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 standard range battery is paired with a single rear-mounted electric motor that can pump out a measly 168 horsepower. With the longer range battery, the rear-wheel drive model can deliver up to 225 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. Stand back for the all-wheel drive Ioniq 5 because it can pump out up to 320 horsepower and an impressive 446 pound-feet of torque. With the larger 77.4 kilowatt-hour pack, the Ioniq 5 is rated at 266 miles of driving range with dual motors and 303 miles with a single motor. The 2023 Toyota BZ4X front-wheel drive models use one electric motor and outputs 201 horsepower and up to 196 pound-feet of torque. All-wheel drive models use 2 electric motors to deliver 214 horsepower and up to 248 pound-feet of torque to both axles combined. Its battery performance also scores an EPA estimated driving range of up to 252 miles for front-wheel drive and 228 miles for all-wheel drive models. Let's take fuel efficiency for example. The EPA has yet to release any official fuel economy estimates for the 2024 EV9. But given its shape and larger size, it'll probably see a lower rating than the Kia EV6's 117 miles per gallon electric combined. I'm talking somewhere between 79 to 83 mile per gallon electric. To put that into perspective, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 all-wheel drive model offers 101 mpge combined, with the rear-wheel drive and standard range battery is estimated to get 113 mpge combined. The Tesla Model Y Performance offers 115 mpge in the city and 106 on the highway. And the Toyota BZ4X is rated as high as 134 mpge in the city and up to 170 mpge on the highway. But now let's talk about passenger space. The EV9 can seat up to 7 adult passengers, like the Tesla Y. By comparison, the Hyundai Ioniq 5 and the Toyota BZ4X can only seat 5. But because these two EVs have 2 rows, they offer more cargo space. Toyota BZ4X gives you the most cargo space of the cars in today's list. I'm talking 38.8 cubic feet behind the rear seats compared to the Hyundai Ioniq 5's cargo space of 27.2 cubic feet. The Kia EV9 offers 20.1 cubic feet of rear cargo space, or 43.5 cubic feet if you fold down the second and third rows. Keep in mind too, it has a front trunk or frunk, which gives you an additional 3.2 cubic feet of cargo space. Let's talk about pricing. The EV9 is the more expensive compared to the other electric crossovers in today's list. I'm talking starting MSRP of $54,900 for the light rear-wheel drive model. But if you're eyeing the top-of-the-line GT trim, you need to bump up the starting MSRP to $73,900. By comparison, the starting MSRP for the 2023 Toyota BZ4X is $42,000, the 2024 Hyundai Ioniq 5 is $41,650, and the 2024 Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive starts at $32,890. All in all, if you ask me personally, I think you should hold off getting the EV9. Here's why. You see, the first generation of the EV9 will be built in South Korea and imported to the U.S. That means it won't qualify for the $7,500 federal EV tax credit. Kia, however, said it'll start building the EV9 in a Georgia assembly plant starting next year, 2024, so that it can eventually qualify for the tax credit. It's also possible that the EV9 may also start at a lower price once production kicks off in Georgia, since you won't have import taxes and so forth. On the other hand, some analysts speculate that Kia will keep the EV9 price high to make up for the facility costs of the new plant they have built. Keep in mind too that the first generation EV9 we'll see in the States will not come with a slew of features available in the EV9 that's being sold in South Korea. Take swiveling seats for example. The EV9 prototype in Seoul has a second row seat that can swivel 180 degrees so passengers can face the third row passengers and talk. Basically, you can turn the back cabin into a lounge area of sorts. But the version we'll see in the States won't swivel. Instead, the second row will be able to recline back, although you can get an ottoman to rest your legs. The seats will also be heated and ventilated. The 2024 EV9 in Korea will also reportedly come with various new advanced driver's assistance systems. But we'll get a skinnier version stateside with 15 sensors, including 2 LiDAR sensors. During the global reveal, Kia mentioned that its 2024 EV9 will be the first ever vehicle to have subscription services in a Kia Connect store. But in the US press release, there was no mention of such services. But it was to say if some of these extra features may be added later to future versions of the EV9 here in the States. Hence, I say wait. Another reason to hold off on a new EV9 is because of its charging standard. Recently, this past October, the Hyundai Motor Company, which owns 34% of Kia, said it will adopt Tesla's EV charging technology in the United States. Believe it or not, Hyundai and Kia aren't the first companies to go to the Tesla EV charging route. Car giants like Ford Motor, General Motors, and Nissan have also adopted Tesla's North American Charging Standard, or NACS for short. Tesla's NACS is widely available across the states, and it makes up 60% of the fast chargers here in America. Anyway, what all this means is, in the near future, perhaps as early as the fourth quarter of 2024 or first quarter of 2025, new Hyundai and Kia EVs in the States will come with an NACS port, and therefore will have access to more than 12,000 Tesla superchargers across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Hyundai and Kia plan on offering adapters to owners of existing Hyundai and Kia EVs that currently use the competing CCS charging system. And that's the thing. The first Kia EV9 that'll hit the US will be equipped with a CCS charging port. This is a system that's compatible with charging stations across the country like Electrify America. But this will eventually change after Kia makes the shift to NACS. But it's not just that. Look, this is a brand new vehicle. There's no history or track record of its reliability. It's not tried, tested, and true. If you don't want to be a guinea pig, I'd say hold off and let the data roll in. For starters, look at the data and reviews of how it's performing in Korea, and you'll see what I mean. Right now, sales of the EV9 in South Korea is less than stellar. One reason is its high price. With added option, the price of a new EV9 can easily reach 100 million won, or $74,000 US. To put that in perspective, it's expected that the high-end Genesis GV90 all-electric SUV will also cost 100 million won. On top of that, premium car makers like Mercedes with the EQS, BMW, and the iX, and Audi with its e-tron are also offering enticing discounts. Tesla is also offering massive discounts on its Model X. This has made it harder for the EV9 to stand out from the crowd. But the reason behind the EV9's poor sales is more than just its price. The EV9 has already seen software glitches and quality issues early on. It's already been recalled because of several issues like charging control errors, lamp control signal processing errors, transmission control unit parking gear recognition errors, and missing diagnostic data within the vehicle control unit. One of the most recent reported issues has to do with the highway driving assist 2 not working in speeds over 50 miles an hour. But now you tell me, what's your impression of the new Kia EV9? And did this video change your mind about it? Please share by commenting below. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for your support.